Is TKO slowly killing the WWE? Well, if you log on Twitter these last few days, that's exactly what you would think. But I actually disagree. Now, I think a lot of people are really upset with some of these decisions that TKO has made and will probably continue to make. And I understand their frustrations, but quite honestly, I don't agree with them. Now, of course, this is going to have to be a lengthy conversation, and I think it's important we have a healthy conversation. You are no longer the consumer that WWE is trying to obtain. You are no longer the consumer that WWE caters to. And you are more than likely not the type of consumer that WWE will ever value. At the end of the day, WWE under TKO has undergone a lot of changes. And I will say this first and foremost, I do not care about any of the changes that they make as long as it doesn't impact the creative. So if WWE wanted to get rid of Triple H tomorrow and it led to somebody else coming in that made great creative decisions, I don't care. What I care about is judging the product for what they present to us. And I do believe that Triple H's version of WWE is incredibly well done. But that has nothing to do with what TKO is doing because they do not work tandem with each other. They are not cohesive. TKO is a company that is trying to maximize every single dollar, and that is the reality. And the reality is, people are spending the money on the WWE product. So, for example, WWE and New Orleans no longer are doing WrestleMania. And then it comes out that WWE wants to do WrestleMania pretty often in Las Vegas. It doesn't mean it'll be every year, but the plan is that maybe they'll do it every year. And people are really bothered by this. It's not a decision that I agree with, but it also doesn't impact me because I know deep down inside I'm probably not going to go to WrestleMania. Again, we are not the consumer. WWE and TKO as a whole, they're building a brand that is very strong. And it's not about the superstars they have. So if one of your favorite wrestlers get released, WWE doesn't really care because WWE is creating a brand that is valuable for the brand itself, not the superstars, not even the creative. Now, of course, WWE is putting people in a tricky situation. It started with, more expensive ticket prices. And over the months, they have increased to such a significant amount. To be honest with you, I was kind of blown away to see that. Now, I just want to kind of remind you guys too. I'm one of those guys, I like going to wrestling events. I've been to several AEW and WWE events in the last several years. I enjoy going to concerts and sporting events. But if they're overly priced, I am not going to go out of my way to watch something that I can watch from the comfort of my own home. So, with WWE ticket prices increasing, that's fine. People are still buying the tickets, but it just doesn't matter to me. You know, I've gone to WrestleMania, and when I went to WrestleMania, I spent $300 on my tickets. So I've already had that experience before. Why would I go spend $5,000, right? So for me personally, I'm not really impacted by WWE's corporate greed. The fact that WWE wants to increase prices on everything, and yeah, they're going to continue doing that, and that's whether or not I like it. But again, WWE, TKO, Endeavor, whoever you want to point the finger to, they have realized that WWE is a mainstream success. And for as long as they're popular, they are technically doing the right thing in the sense of trying to price things and making money. The way that they're doing it, I think, is a very big slap to the face of a hardcore fan base. But deep down inside, WWE is now reaching casuals on a whole different level. It's not really worth talking about ratings. I mean, we could talk about ratings all day, we can talk about viewership. But the truth is, WWE is growing and making more money than ever before. And that's a tough pill to swallow. It's hard to see that the company that so many people have been loyal to have decided to move on and they've decided to continue chasing every dollar. So WWE, TKO, they're going to keep making decisions that is best for the brand. It's all about the brand visibility. And that means they're probably going to do a lot of things that piss us off. And I know it sucks, but that's what corporations do. I kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit more in depth before the New Orleans announcement thing was made. But now that we're seeing WrestleMania become a very big staple for Las Vegas, it really doesn't shock me. Look at what the UFC and TKO have done. Endeavor, when purchasing UFC, I mean, it doesn't even matter the fighters on the card anymore. It has gotten to a point where there's people fighting on UFC cards, and these cards suck, but then people still buy tickets. When people think of MMA, they literally say the words UFC. And that's what TKO wants you to think for professional wrestling. If you were to see somebody and you were talking about professional wrestling, they want you to think WWE. And these people are buying the tickets. These people are going to the events. These people, they don't really, WWE isn't really hiding that kayfabe is dead, right? So, like, these people boo and cheer whoever they want. They don't care. And it's so funny because I think a lot of wrestling fans are upset about this. But WWE is going to keep doing it because that's what TKO is doing. Now, some people are arguing on social media that Vince should have never sold the company to Endeavor. Well, keep in mind, Vince was expected to work with Endeavor. That's why he sold it to them, right? Apparently, that's the reason. Apparently, he sold it to Endeavor so that way he can still have power. It wasn't until his hands were literally forced with the allegations even more. So this would have been Vince McMahon's WWE regardless if people like it or not. And I do find that to be a fascinating part of this story. A very fascinating part of this conversation is that, yeah, maybe Vince didn't do this in the past, but when selling to Endeavor, it was inevitable. It was going to happen. And for the love of God, can people please stop blaming Triple H? This guy is an employee for the company who is a head of creative. And I'm sorry to say, sit here and tell you guys this, but I don't really think Triple H is the one making those kinds of decisions. At the end of the day, Ari Emanuel, Mark Shapiro, Nick Khan, they're the ones who are having meetings about this kind of stuff. And they're going to keep doing it because that's all that matters to them. Publicly traded company, it's all about the money, it's all about the shareholders, it's all about the TV partners, and it's always, always, always going to be about the bottom dollar. So yeah, does it get frustrating? Sure. But once you realize that you're no longer the target, it doesn't matter. And really the best thing to do if you guys really don't like what the WWE are doing, if you're not a fan of it, don't watch. The only way companies learn is if you don't watch. But here's the thing. This does not impact the creative of the shows. I am very happy with Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, so I will keep watching. But as always, if they continue to, develop good shows, I'll keep watching it. And if they don't, it's not hard for me to stop watching. There's millions of other wrestling shows that I cover and talk about. So it is what it is. Is this the fall of the WWE? No, I don't think so. I think everybody's being dramatic. But the company is very much changing. And if you can't see it, if you can't understand it, you might not be a fan anymore. And that's okay. There's literally nothing wrong with that. It's just something to think about.